Let's move on to the topic of this episode. Is Star Wars Episode 7 just a rehash of Episode 4? Matt, in one word. That's your word.
Yeah, sure.
Nah, anyway, so we're going to talk about our thoughts on this. By this time, I would hope that everybody listening has watched the movie.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you have not watched the movie, you can skip or turn this off, whatever. But if you have watched the movie, I'd hope you would at least listen to our talk about the show. So, Episode 7, what high level overview, what do you think?
Say that again? High level?
High level, like bird's eye view, like not going into all the specifics.
It was fun. It had a nostalgia feel to it, which I think was intentional. But I guess pretty much goes with why we called it what we did. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I wasn't disappointed at all. I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, for me, movie reviews are a little different. People want to rate board games on a scale of 10 or rate things on a scale of 5 stars or whatever. I literally rate movies based on was I entertained?
Right.
Was you not entertained?
Yes.
I want to rate movies based on that. If I was entertained, I liked it. Now, I could have really enjoyed it, but that means I was entertained. It's either good or bad for me.
Right.
I'm either going to want... I guess sometimes I don't want to watch it twice, but usually if I was entertained, I'm going to recommend it. If I wasn't entertained, I'm probably not. Or I probably won't even talk about it. It's not like I'm going to be a militant person and run around and be like, you shouldn't see this movie.
Yes.
Because it was just a rehash. I think with Episode 7, yeah, there was a lot of homage to Episode 4, the way everything played out. There was a giant Death Star. They found the plans. They went and blowed it up.
Sandy planet.
Yeah, Sandy planet. Everything's the same.
Kid, good with machines.
Yeah, there was a lot of similarities. And I think that, maybe they were trying to appease to a new audience of people. Or new generation of people, I'm sorry. But, was that necessary? That's a question I have for you, because you have kids that are older. Do you think that would have drawn them into the Star Wars universe more than any of the other films? Did they have to go back and revisit the same formula?
No, because I don't think kids would have caught up on that. I think they would just saw it. I think the kids with BB-8 rolling around and being cute. I think that's the stuff that captures kids. And crazy action. Cool lightsaber fights. That's the stuff that I think grabs kids more than anything. My daughter, for some reason, all of a sudden loves Chewbacca now.
Really?
Yeah, she loves Chewbacca.
Because he's a furry dog?
I don't know what it is. She just all of a sudden became a big fan of Chewbacca. I'm not really sure what it was that did it. I don't know. J.J. Abrams was handed a pretty serious job, and I'm wondering. There's a point where you are you really paying homage, or are you just copycatting? I don't know.
What if there was that line? Did they come close to it?
I don't think they came close to it, but it was apparent.
Yeah, I think they played it safe, I guess is the easiest way to say it.
Right.
They played it safe. I think it was a really good movie. I was super entertained. I really liked it. The one thing I didn't like about the prequels, and I won't even go into anything else, as far as like what I didn't like about them. But the one thing I really liked about the new one is that they kept the humor more mature, because I feel like in the prequels they had all this stuff like Jar Jar Binks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Shiver.
Yeah.
They have all this stuff in the prequels to where there was like funny things, and they added it into the remastered versions of the originals too, where it would be a little quick scene showing like the city, and then some guy falls off his horse falls off like a bantha or something.
Yeah.
Or like the machine breaks down or whatever. There's a lot of like really childish style humor into it.
Right.
So, but there wasn't really much of that. I can't even remember in the new one. Like there was like witty comedy.
Yeah.
And that is really good, because even I think that comedy that they did, the kids could pick up on too. When he did the thumbs up to BB-8.
Yeah.
And he busts out the little lighter.
The little lighter, right.
That was like clever. That was awesome. Whereas before, BB-8 would have fell down some stairs and made like some sad noise.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, come on, George Lucas, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, I understand you want to appeal to kids, but your kids are now you're like older and they're the same audience.
Yes.
You know, so. But overall, like one thing I did want to talk about, which we were kind of talking about this the other day, but the agenda behind the movie, right? So Geek and Sundry, they posted some article. It's like, I guess, hypothetically, that there is a relationship that could possibly happen between Finn and Poe, right? And it's like,
he did give him his jacket.
He did. Well, he didn't technically give it to him. He found it.
He let him keep it.
He did let him keep it as, a souvenir or whatever.
Right.
But that got me thinking, right? This movie does hit upon some of those agendas, where you've got a strong female lead doing one of the coolest roles ever, a Jedi.
Right.
Right. And then you've got a strong African-American lead, which in a movie of this size, does not happen very often.
Right.
And if they did go in the role of having like a, same-sex style relationship going on, do you think they're trying too hard at that point? Like, I have nothing against any of the above that we just talked about.
Right.
But what I have, I don't want them to like say, all right, what's very controversial in the movie industry right now, and then throw it all in a pot and then give us episode 8.
Well, is it trying to be controversial, or is it just trying to see? I look at everything, especially with Disney having it now, that they're trying to reach out and pull as much as they can in. So I think if they did it, I don't think that they got a I don't know. I don't think that there's a political reason behind it. Maybe there is. There's probably someone going nuts right now. Listen to this. Sorry, I don't read up on all this, but I do think that Disney tries to grab as many audiences as they can.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be doing it in a malicious way to try to spark up. Like some movies, they actually went out of their way to make like, the most concoction lead character that they could, like African American who's gay and transgender, and they try to go out of their way to be controversial on purpose, and I don't think Disney's doing that.
They don't have to.
No, that's true. They probably don't, right? Because I mean, they already reached the branding of Disney has reached everybody. Anyway.
Disney and Star Wars alone is going to crush,
right?
I mean,
and so would it be necessary for them to put that in there? Are they just trying to make people happy?
I don't know on that.
It's a very interesting subject.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, they don't have to do anything. They're gonna crush either way it goes.
I agree.
I don't know.
Well,
on that,
it was just interesting to bring up. Well, let's move back into the Star Wars film itself and the stuff that happened in it that we liked. First off, here's another thing we'll talk about. Spoiler alert, but you should have already clicked off by now. Were you okay with Han Solo dying?
Yes.
Were you okay with how he died?
Other than it was somewhat predictable at a point.
I agree. Like, what I like to see in a death scene is like Final Fantasy VII. When Ares gets stabbed through by Sephiroth.
Where it comes out of nowhere.
And you just throw your controller across the room.
I spent all this time leveling her up. Why did you kill her?
Yeah. What has happened? Yeah. So, man, the delivery is amazing on that.
Yes.
Going back and watching it now, it's probably not as big of a deal, but it's kind of like watching The Sixth Sense.
Right.
You watch it the second time, it's not going to make it that punch you in the face impact.
No.
But I think you're right. It was predictable. I'm going to walk slowly towards you and be like, everything's okay.
Yes.
And you're like, you're right, everything's okay. Stab.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, as soon as he said, I need help, I was like, his help and Han's help are two different things right now.
Yeah, you do that in the 9th movie, the last one of that trilogy, and then maybe it would have been a little bit more suspenseful and surprising.
Right.
But that moment, straight up just being in episode 7, first episode back in a long time.
And I think Harrison had said before he wanted to go in a movie anyways, or go ahead and end that character.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I I've watched reviews of Harrison Ford, and I don't know what his deal is with trying to kill off Han Solo in all these years, but he seems like a jerk. I don't know. I've watched all like some of the review, like the interviews I've seen of him post episode 7 coming out. He acts like I did it because I got paid. I'm glad Han Solo's died. You know, and like he was talking about the new movie, they're making that anthology with Han Solo, and they're going to cast somebody and how he became a smuggler and things like that.
Right.
And he was like, you know, I wouldn't wish that job on him or something like that. It's just the way his demeanor. It just seems like.
Well, saying that, the only thing I would say with the not wishing the job on somebody is just because I do know, like with the preparation they did with episode 7 was they intentionally. I saw in another interview where they were talking about flying the Millennium Falcon, and there was a certain button sequence that you had to push, or else the Star Wars geeks would have caught up on it and blasted you for pushing a wrong button in a wrong order.
I see what you're saying.
So I think maybe he meant like the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure of you better live up to a Han Solo. Yes. I couldn't imagine that. Sure. Maybe because I just watched so many things before.
Playing devil's advocate on that. But I mean, I think I do know that whole button sequence thing was like actually a big deal.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. That's probably in the Star Wars trivia game.
Yeah.
Which is probably terrible because it's Trivial Pursuit. Yeah. Anyway, what was your favorite scene in the movie?
Oh, favorite scene.
That was like straight up out of nowhere.
Wow. Favorite scene was...
We're doing this live!
You know, I was kind of okay with the... It was weird. Whenever they went to the girl with the Coke bottle glasses, sorry, I don't know her name.
I don't even remember.
It slowed down really hard there, but then, man, that X-Wing fight after that, oh my Lord.
The one where they came in from the over the wall.
Well, they were getting attacked, yeah, and the X-Wings came, you know, like the cavalry,
yeah.
the rebels showed up to help fend them off. It was like, wow, check this out.
I thought you were getting to the traitor scene.
No.
I think my favorite scene the lightsaber battles with Poe and Finn, or I'm sorry, Finn and Rey.
Right.
And Rilo Ken.
Yep.
That was amazing, like in the snow. That was amazing for a couple of different reasons. One, you know, it wasn't like flashy and overly impressive, you know, other than like it looked really well. But the thing I really liked about it is it showed the power of Kylo Ren at that time. He is unwieldy, you know, like he's powerful,
right? But
he doesn't get what he has.
He ain't reined it in,
right? So he's fighting people who have never picked up lightsabers, and they're doing okay against him.
That was the only thing I got. Yeah, that was the only thing I kind of like raised an eyebrow at. But I guess, like you said, maybe he hasn't harnessed it. And
well, I think some of that comes from like the Star Wars extended material and stuff, like the things they call legacy now. Like we've played the Star Wars role playing games.
He also go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna say is like we played the Star Wars role playing games, and they make mention multiple times that if you don't know the Force, that the Force is what helps you control the lightsaber because the blade is weightless.
Yeah. And
so you don't know where the blade is. So if you close your eyes and you're swinging around the lightsaber, you don't know that it's going to cut your head off.
Right.
You know, it's not like when you pick up a weighted blade and you know it's balanced and you kind of get the feel of that whole blade.
Right.
Right. And so in the Star Wars universe books and stuff for the RPG, it usually says that it's weightless. And so I feel like some people thought, how is Finn and Rey picking up this lightsaber and just doing okay with it? It's not, you know, blah, 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 Star Wars nerdism. And I think that maybe since Disney's kind of dealt away with that a little bit, I mean, you can see the blade.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, they're blind. So, but it makes sense that his power, he's not really that great with it, and then that's why they were able to fight him.
And then just going, who was his teacher? Maybe he didn't, you know, maybe he wasn't taught good enough.
Well, wasn't it Luke? Yeah, that's what it said in the flashbacks.
Oh, did it? I must have missed that.
Oh, yeah. So Luke apparently trained him, and then, you know, stuff went wrong, and he was trying to go to the dark side, and then Luke, I guess either he left or Luke stopped doing it.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes.
You remember that now?
Yes, now I'm getting it. All right.
Yeah, this is why movie reviewers should watch a movie more than once. We're not movie reviewers.
Yes.
These are more like our impressions of seeing it once. And it has been a couple months since we've seen it, I guess, but or at least that for me.
Right.
But amazing. I'm looking extremely forward to episodes 8 and 9 and all the anthology movies, although I think the anthology movies will be a different feel. I don't see them being a Star Wars episode. I feel like, because they talked about Rogue One, how like they're trying to do this, from what I gathered, a Saving Private Ryan style film, and like the idea behind that, and like the team that went and stole the Death Star's plans.
Right.
There's not going to be the Force in it and stuff, so you're not going to have a lot of lightsaber battles and things like that. So like the action is going to be more gritty and things like that. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see the first anthology that comes out, which is Rogue One, and see what other people think. But I think there'll be good movies. I think they're trying to play alongside something that's already well established, and it's going to be probably a little bit more tougher for that.
Is Star Wars a classic?
Going back to our previous episode, yeah,
it's tried. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it
because
holds.
it is not popular just because it's popular.
Right.
I mean, there is so much going on in the Star Wars. That's the whole reason there's these universe and all these expanded universe and things that they've made, and authors writing books and things. Man, and then they just dealt away with all of it. This is all
it
legacy
doesn't exist.
Yeah. And then, so they wrote new books or whatever, but I mean, yeah, I can see Star Wars being around for a long, long time.
Yeah, agree.
Amazing movie.
Yep.